Meanwhile, it's always fun to watch what's going on at Fox and Friends, see how they're dealing with this stuff. The constant push and pull of how do we stay in Donald Trump's good graces, but also how do we acknowledge some reality? And then sometimes, like, I woke up this morning, I felt like an actual human being, and this leaked out on the show today. I wonder if that's what Steve Doocy was saying to Brian Kilmeade. Brian Kilmeade looks like his dog died in this clip, because, and maybe to a certain extent he did. I always wonder, like, at one point, is one of them going to go like, you know what? I'm going to be the Alan Combs. I don't know if people remember Hannity and Combs. That's how the Hannity show started. Alan Combs, he was a guy with a pedigree not too dissimilar from mine. I think he was a stand-up at one point, years and years and years ago, and then he became a political commentator on radio. Nice guy, not always the sharpest, debater. There was a quality to him that he was, the Washington Wizards. He had a show after he left Hannity and Combs that I thought was a little bit sharper than it was than when he was with Combs. But he was playing a role and he was on TV. I always wonder, like, when they're going to do that, when one of them is going to just be like sort of the foil. I don't know if that's what's going on here with Steve Doocy, but he is he's starting to get a little nervous about this whole thing where there's candidates who are actually offering stuff to people.
For each other. And Jamie Dimon, who is the chairman and CEO.
Oh. Sorry. Ashley, did we get the wrong?
No, we do, but I was just way too fast.
Okay. Try this one more time.
JP Morgan Chase, he said this about Elizabeth Warren.
You really have to ask her what she really means. She uses some pretty harsh words. Some would say vilifies successful people. So I don't like vilifying anybody. I think we should applaud successful people.
Pause it now. Again, two things to note on this. Jamie Dimon, horrible human being, a banker who, one of the people responsible for a tremendous amount of misery that people have gone through over the past decade. And again, there was a sense amongst these people that Bernie Sanders was off the table, and so they should just step on and start moving to attack Elizabeth Warren. Now I think they're going to have to deal with the reality that Bernie's campaign is actually creeping back into the polls. But all right, so here they are, JP Morgan CEO. We should applaud successful people.
If you're successful, right, you shouldn't be vilified for it. You've worked really hard.
Right. And so, Ainsley, on top of that, there's a theme with Elizabeth Warren. Attack the big companies, attack powerful CEOs, and try to look like you're sticking up for the little man or little woman. Here's what Warren says back. And by the way, this plays right into her, what she thinks is going to help her. It's really simple. Jamie Dimon and his buddies are successful in part because of their opportunities, workforce, and public services that we all paid for. It's only fair that he and his billionaire friends chip in to make sure everyone else has a chance to succeed. The fact that they've reacted so strongly, so angrily to being asked to chip in more tells you all about the need to know. This is all you need to know. The system is working great for the wealthy and well-connected, and Jamie Dimon doesn't want that to change. I'm going to fight to make sure it works for everyone. You should know this. They had a series of big meetings with other CEOs, and they talked about some changes to capitalism. So this could work on the dispersion of wealth through the country.
Pause it. No, first of all, there was a CEO roundtable. Remember this was like 3 or 4 weeks ago where they're like, we should do more to disperse the money around the country. Poor Matt has had just a meltdown. You mean redistribution of the CEOs? Oh, we can all, you know what we can all do? We can all go with a sacrifice, some type of, maybe a human sacrifice to the Council of CEOs to see if they'll give us more dispersion of stuff.
We have the technology for that.
Yeah, the CEOs have had a meeting. They've already decided they're going to do more of this. What do we need anybody else to be rabble-rousing?
The dispersion of wealth through the country. I mean, to vilify him or Wall Street does nothing but get the economy unwieldy about the prospect of Elizabeth Warren winning.
You know, I don't understand how that message is going to, how she's doing so well with that message. That message is saying, you have more than I do. I want to take some of yours. I'm jealous of what you have.
If you don't have anything, that's a very potent message. Believe me.
But that's not the American way. The American way is to work your tail off.
But
keep working. Say yes, work weekends, work nights.
I
work
get
your
that,
way to the top.
But if you have worked really hard and you still don't have anything, I mean, you go to I've been to the Bernie Sanders rallies where there are a lot of people who need help. You know, they didn't have health care. They need, you know, they got problems with college tuition and things like that. And so for the Democratic message, look, you don't have anything.
Pause it. Just pause it. Look at the look on Brian Kilmeade's face and Ashley Ainsley's face. Look at the look on their faces. They look like honestly, like they are being forced to watch their pets being executed right now. They are so angry at this idea. And incidentally, the people that Doocy are talking about represent certainly a plurality, if not the majority of people in this country. I mean, we've all seen the reports that at least 50% of the country can't raise $400 in an emergency. And according to Ashley Ainsley, 50% of those people just aren't working hard enough. You got to work 24 hours a day if you want to get health care.
A lot of people who need help. You know, they didn't have health care. They need, you know, they got problems with college tuition and things like that. And so for the Democratic message, look, you don't have anything. The government is going to make sure that the most successful people pay extra so you can get a hand up. That is very powerful.
Right.
And that's why, you know, you look at the number of people with that point of view, you add up all the people who support that, it's a big number.
Right. I think that if you want to say CEOs get paid too much, I think you got a point. I mean, some of the money, some of the dollars, and some other CEOs will turn around and goes, do you know how much I've generated for everybody?
Right. That's a business decision. But if the business can afford to pay you, that's how capitalism works.
Right. But if you have a board that you put that board in place, and that board votes you a massive raise in incentives, that's when people were in 2008 focusing on. But here's the thing with Elizabeth Warren, Steve, you're right. Mass market, there's more people without than with. I get it. But in the big picture, by continuing to go after the wealthy and the corporate tax cut, I think it's a dishonest approach to what is going to get her elected. Because in the end, she has a history of getting money from those corporations.
Right. All right, it's 7:07.
Wow, so many pivots.
That was you could see the producers in the control room going, guys, what are you doing? Guys, what's going on? What are you guys doing? We're supposed
I think they get their talking points straight beforehand.
Kilmeade ended up saying Warren was too far to the right.
That's right. He looped back around to say
she took
she
corporate
works
money.
for corporations.
It's especially insane because Elizabeth Warren.
Bernie. He's like,
He rips off his tie.
Exactly.
And it's a Bernie
He's like,
shirt underneath.
That was unbelievable. Like you wonder if they have like a debrief afterwards. They go down to the Fox commissary, a lot like what we do around here in the Majority Report. And they sit around and they go, guys, what could we have done better today? And, you know, both Ashley and Kilmeade are like, Steve, you can't say stuff like that. What are we supposed to do then? I got completely thrown off when you started talking about that. You please don't do that anymore. Well, I went to the rallies. Please just don't do that anymore. It's really obnoxious. It's really obnoxious.